I love your show.
Cool.
Thank you.
It's very daring. Was a lot of the material intimidating for you guys at times, or you were scared, like, oh, this is not what I expected today?
Well, it was a little, I mean, I'm Swedish, so we have a pretty relaxed relationship to our clothes. So,
Right.
we grow
lack
up.
of.
Yeah, or lack of. We grow up getting into the sauna when everyone is naked in there. So that kind of helped me because the first 2 days I had on the show, I didn't have any clothes on. So that was.
Everyone, I believe, here has a moment. Of,
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Yes,
have a
I
moment?
remember
You do
my
have a
moment.
moment,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was nervous actually.
Everybody has a moment. We're all naked at least twice a day.
Yeah,
You know, why not?
You know?
Why not? With all this, technology and sci-fi, how fun is that with the acting and putting both together, merging once you see all the final effects of the show?
It's exciting, It's because you sort of imagine some of the things that are shot in blue screen because we use more blue screen than green screen on this.
Ah, okay.
You're just kind of imagining how it's going to be. I mean, Martha, we had this scene where we had a couple of scenes where we were in a flying car, and then when you see it and you see the whole like futuristic city around it, I mean, that's exciting.
They kind of showed us a little bit of how it would
Yeah,
look.
like a rendering of like what it.
But it wasn't even close to now
Yeah.
that we see it finished. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive.
What was your reaction when you first got the first script? What was your reaction to the first script?
I just wanted to know who wrote it. I remember thinking that, like closing the first script and saying, oh my God, because you're immersed into this world so quickly and it just makes you wonder and want to know what happens in episode 2.
It's very thrilling working on a show where you're throwing up real, proper philosophical ideas that people are going to go away from watching the show thinking about and talk about, and therefore wondering whether or not people are really interested in changing our trajectory, which ends up in a world like Altered Carbon or Blade Runner or Metropolis or any of the dystopian sci-fis that there are.
If you could take something from the world of Altered Carbon and bring it to today, what would you take?
My car.
Your car,
My
your flying
flying
car? What about you guys?
I like the Oni.
Oh, the Oni's good.
Yeah, I like the Oni.
I would want an Oni.
Yeah,
I'll take your arm.
You'll take my arm.
Yeah,
well, the bionic
yeah.
arm.
All right.
arm.
Nice.
Yes.
A bionic arm would be useful.
Notice none of us chose immortality.
Yeah. Speaking of immortality, the show has so many meetings and just entendres of what's going on. Talk about why the show is so relevant for today.
Well, it portrays an exaggeration of a lot of the problems that we see in society today. You see the growing income inequality, that the rich are capturing a larger amount of the wealth, and the poor live in squalor and have much less power to affect their lives. And Altered Carbon is the extreme exaggeration of that. And this generation of Americans is going to be the first generation that lives shorter lives than their parents, but at the same time, the richest Americans are getting access to the best kind of medicine and are living longer than any humans have ever done before. So Altered Carbon is an extreme exaggeration of that and telling us that if we don't make the right decisions now, this is where we might end up.
And access is really the key. Access everywhere, right across the board, to so many different things. There's a great conversation going on, Me Too, about, Oscars so white or whatever it is. It's all about who's in the room and who's making the decisions. And it's not just about, producers and writers and directors and who's in the room, but access to medical advance and medicines and hospitals and healthcare and all of these things. Access is everything.
Well, I'm glad to be in the room with you guys. Thank you so much.
thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Congrats.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I love the show.
Yay.
What was your first reaction when you got the script? Like, it's pretty trippy.
My first reaction when I got the script was just excitement because I love the character Cal Christ Falconer. I love the fact that there's this woman of color who's very powerful and fearless with such resolve.
She's badass.
She
I'm
is.
scared of her.
I'm scared of her too. I was scared to try to be her. And I also love the fact that she is the, kind of a part of this destiny couple, because I didn't think that I would get to see that. I've been, I feel like people of color so often in these worlds, making other people interesting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think in this world, we're here to just be people and to do really hugely important things, good or bad. That's really powerful.
I was extremely excited and you know, for me, I was like, wow, how are they going to do this? It's going to be amazing. And to see it all unfold and all the detailed work that every single member of the crew put into the show, it was remarkable. It was really an incredible journey.
A lot of the scenes are a bit racy. Were any of the scenes for you guys a bit intimidating to do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, and it's staying true to the book, and it's there to examine and look at our humanity very closely. In terms of, you know, intimidating, I don't know about you guys, but I was nervous about learning how to use the sword and just thinking like, am I going to look good doing this? But they were very kind and they trained me for 3 months. I worked really hard and now I love it. It's like, I think people should start sword workout routines or something.
I get into that. What about for you? What was the most challenging part about doing the show?
When I first saw the script, I was excited, and then I was scared, and I was like, this is a lot of work.
You look amazing,
But,
and you have your Taekwondo background.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it was. I had just finished another show where I had to gain a lot of weight for, and Lita called me and said, "How fast can you lose the weight?" And that was what terrified me because I knew how much work that takes, and how grumpy I'd be for 7 weeks.
He was
wasn't that
amazing.
grumpy, and he
He
was
was
fantastic.
amazing.
But it was fun to watch a man with that pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first time I've
Good,
seen a
right?
guy.
It was fun to do that. Probably the scariest thing for me was having to be the weapon. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Having to become strong enough. Even if I didn't have to become strong enough, really, I definitely had to believe that I was strong enough to war and battle with these two. I mean, that was a scary thing to do, but a fun challenge.
But what's amazing is that you don't see as the centerpiece, these two women are gonna kick some ass, and it's always handed off in so many movies where it's the main superhero male, and then you have the woman who does the one sidekick, and then she looks at it. They are front and center in the middle of the screen doing their things, and it is. I've done martial arts for a long time. They are amazing. So.
Oh, thank you.
The whole show has a lot of strong female characters, thankfully. Your characters are also different. Where do you draw from in terms of character inspiration? Because these characters are characters I've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, the scripts and the world and the book, I feel like when I read the script, I immediately responded and knew where they wanted her to be. And that's in the writing. It tells you who you are, who they imagine this character to be. So then you just dive in and you do your work.
You just have the fun.
Yeah,
of all
yeah.
that.
But it's also, I think, being someone of color, it's refreshing that we were allowed a playground where, even though it's sci-fi, we were actually allowed to talk to each other as human beings, and that in my career has not happened a ton, you know. So
It's rare.
that was the nice part.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. I love the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Nice
much.
meeting you.
Thanks for coming out all
Don't
this
forget your
way.
name.